It's the spooky season, and I thought I'd give you a list of some of my favorite psychological horror novels. I will start off by recommending Pet Sematary by Stephen King. So, this is a classic, and an added tidbit about it is the first adult novel I ever read. I picked it up when I was 11 years old, after seeing another fifth grade girl reading It by Stephen King. And I was like, is that a good book? And she didn't even take her eyes off the page. She was like, oh yeah. So I was like, okay. So I went to a B. Dalton's in the local mall. That was a bookstore at the time. And I said, okay, there's a lot of Stephen King books here, but it looks like too thick a book. I'm only an 11-year-old, so maybe I'll try something a little bit easier. So I picked up Pet Sematary, had a cat on the cover. To the mind of an 11-year-old, the cat on the cover looked like it probably wasn't going to be that terrifying, but oh my gosh, talk about psychological terror. Pet Sematary is not just about kind of demons possessing household pets or the dead coming back to life or zombies. It's nothing that trite. It is a deep dive into the terror of losing someone you love, whether that be a parent, a sibling, a child. This book does a deep dive into that grief, but it's not really about the sadness, it's about the horror of the loss and what lengths somebody might go to try to erase it and bring someone back. It doesn't have a happy ending. I mean, I think it's not a spoiler to say that. It's just a deep dive into that, and with all the close, visceral emotion that Stephen King brings to his works. Well worth a read. Moving on to something with a little bit of a more superpower flavor, I'm going to recommend Geek Love by Katherine Dunn. This novel completely blew me away. It had been recommended multiple times, and, I think at first I thought, oh, circus freaks? I don't know. It sounds, again, might be kind of silly or trite. The word love in it, I thought, oh, what if it's just a romance? Well, it is not a romance. Do not be fooled by that title. On some levels, Geek Love is about child abuse and family dysfunction. And on a deeper level, I'd say it's about the magnetic personality of a cult leader and how a cult can get into somebody's mind and make them do just about anything. Kill their loved ones, mutilate people. And it's probably the best portrayal of a cult leader I have ever seen in fiction. It is just gripping. And it's also about the destruction of innocence, childhood innocence, and goodness. It's really hard to generalize what is a good person, but this novel just kind of shows you how a good person in the wrong circumstances can be completely just destroyed. This book will destroy you. So, moving on to vampire-flavored fiction. There's a number that I could have recommended here. I'm going to go with Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. And, of course, this has had 2 different adaptations, both of them pretty well done. The book itself is just deep psychological horror, and I'm even going to go so far as to say that the sequel, The Vampire Lestat, was also kind of a deep dive into the trauma of religion and struggling with what is good, what is holy, what is evil. And this is a deep dive into those big questions. When it comes to thrillers and mysteries, again, there's a number here that I would like to recommend. I'm just going to go with kind of a classic, which also got a great film adaptation, which was Silence of the Lambs. This book is actually the second in a trilogy, and I would recommend reading the first one and the third as well. But the second one does stand out. It's just an incredible deep dive into the mind of a serial killer and who's aiding an FBI agent who's trying to catch another serial killer. So, killers all around, kind of the innocence of lambs, the innocence of this FBI agent, and it's just an interesting story. And finally, I'm going to round out this list with some historical fiction, dark historical fiction. The one I want to recommend first and foremost here is Night of Sorrows by Frances Sherwood. And she does a deep dive into Cortez's conquest of the Aztec Empire through the point of view of his translator. The translator is a member of a tribe that is being subjugated by the Aztecs, and so she and her people are caught between a rock and a hard place. Her choice is kind of like, well, have my beating heart torn out of my chest and get thrown down a pyramid as a blood sacrifice, or throw in with these foreign creepy guys that are honestly kind of insane, saying they can take on the entire Aztec Empire with very few men, very few weapons, they've got weird beasts called horses. And so it's kind of her point of view of this very dark, bloody war and the underhanded way they do things. And she's caught in the middle. She's key to all of it. And she's really just an innocent young woman trying to survive. Great story. And of course, that is based on true history. I am not going to jump into a giant list of dark memoirs because I read a lot and there's a ton of them and they're wonderful. But this list is fiction only. Happy reading, and I hope some of those suggestions keep you up at night.